Hi everybody, it's Jim with Great Books, Big Ideas. Welcome to the channel. I'd like to do a mail haul video today. So I put an order in about 7 to 10 days ago, and everything came in finally in like 3 separate shipments. And the good news, the headline is, I got everything I wanted, and like as expected, the books were like just what I ordered, which is not always the case. I got these on eBay from one of the big sellers on there called Thrift Books. And yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled to finally get these. The theme of this mail haul is definitely like collecting books. So I'm trying to flesh out some of my some holes in my collection. So I'm just going to get right down to it and share with you some brief stories about what I found, why I was looking for it. And this is going to lead to 2 other videos that I plan to make on a couple of these series. So first, let's start with Great Books of the Western World, Franklin Library. Not long ago, on my Q&A response video for 2,000 subscribers, someone asked me to show again my small collection of Franklin Library leather-bound 25th anniversary Great Books of the Western World editions. And I've now have added to that two titles. So I've got Shakespeare 2 and Shakespeare 3. Both of these were around $21 if I remember correctly, which is about as cheap as they come. They can run much higher than that. So I have the first 3 volumes of the 6 that they've subdivided Shakespeare's works into. And I'm really excited to get these. So that definitely adds some shelf appeal to my featured bookcases. And yeah, really, these were good finds. I go in and out with searching for books like this, and I have some saved searches. So when I do go back into eBay, I can kind of jump to where the good stuff is and see if anything pops up. I was surprised to see these come up on Thrift Books. You know, normally it's like antiquarian booksellers selling them. And boy, are they in good condition too. Like they were very well packaged. Like, so yeah, I took a chance not being sure if they were going to be right, but I was right. I got lucky. Thank you, Thrift Books, for all these books. Okay, so that's really cool. One other new book, old book I got is this book, William Faulkner, Sanctuary. This is published by Vintage International. And this comes from my favorite series of Faulkner paperbacks. And this almost completes my set. By my reckoning, I've got everything now except for a fable. And a fable, if you look it up, the font is similar, but the cover design is a little bit different than all the other covers. So I almost don't even need to get that one, but eventually down the line, I'll find one cheap. But this book was super hard to find. Like, I often would come across other titles from these. These are from the 70s, I think. Late 60s, early 70s, or mid 70s. And I often came across the other titles in used bookstores and in library sales. And I've cobbled together over the years an almost complete set of these. This one eluded me. And when I would search for it online, I didn't want to pay the prices that they were asking. I wasn't always certain about the condition. This isn't good enough condition. It's not perfect, like none of these old paperbacks are, but this is better than I expected. And to get like this, I'd have to be very careful about peeling that price sticker off, also from the spine, but I'll work on that. But yeah, I was thrilled to get this. I love these covers, and this is one I want to do a separate video on. Now I can do the video because I want to show you all these covers together. They use this very evocative photography. The font the presentation. These are nice paperbacks too, like in your hands. Like I like the paper quality, the floppiness of them. And this to me is the way I want to read Faulkner. So yeah, finally closed that deal. Like really, really excited about that. And I'm going to do a separate video on those book covers. Those are some of my favorite book paperback designs in my collection. This is a new book. I didn't get it for the cover. I got it for what I think it's about, and it's called The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. And this is a story, a coming-of-age story about Niagara Falls in the 80s, and it's a little bit of like, it seems to be kind of mixing in some like kind of ghost stories and the occult with coming of age. I've started it. I'm really enjoying it, and I'll have more to say about it when I'm finished. I have to thank Denise from Doggy Books for recommending this, and she read a passage that really captivated me. And as soon as I heard that reading, I thought, I got to read this book. I was going to get it from the library, and I could have gotten it from the library. But then as I was filling out my thrift books order, I wanted to get the extra discount. I think, you buy 3 and you get 15% off. It's one of those things. I'm like, I just threw that in there because I figured I would like it. And so far, I'm really, really liking it. I think this was first published in 2018. And Craig Davidson seems to be an up-and-coming writer. And I'm just connecting with the age, the 80s, early 80s, and the characters and the setting. And yeah, so far so good on this, but I'll do a fuller report once I finish it, which probably won't be too long from now. Now, finally, to finish out, this is also a book collection need that's been finally filled. And this is a little bit of a long story, and I want to make a separate video on it, so I don't want to belabor it right here for this video. But anyway, these are technically textbooks. And these two in particular are ones that I remember from 11th grade high school English class. We read some of the best books that year. I just can't tell you all the great books that we read. We read The Great Gatsby, we read Crime and Punishment, we read Hamlet, we read Bartleby the Scrivener, we read Hermann Hesse, we read Albert Camus' The Stranger, and on and on and on it went. Like unforgettable readings in that class. But it was my favorite English class of, sophomore, junior, senior. I think junior year was my favorite. I also loved my 12th grade creative writing class. That was an elective. But boy, did we read good stuff. And these books were so memorable to me because they have very captivating photographs. And the selections we read from these books, I remember the stories so vividly, and sometimes we would see a film associated with the story. And, they don't come with any endnotes. There's no questions. There's no head notes. There's nothing except a couple sidebar notes here and there, and then the photography and the stories themselves. And this was the 20th century American fiction, and this is 19th century American fiction. So we read a few stories from here. Bartleby was in here, some Hawthorne, some Poe, Shirley Jackson, The Lottery from this one, Silent Snow, Sneakered Snow. The one I remembered vividly and helped me to find this book and rediscover it many, many years later was Barn Burning by William Faulkner. And I remember that story because I couldn't make heads or tails of it as a naive high school junior. But the story intrigued me, and I always wanted to revisit it. I did later revisit it. I think I even taught that story once or twice. I taught the one I usually would teach more often is A Rose for Emily, which was a surefire story to teach. But anyway, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here because I'm going to do a separate video, but try to make the long story short, Jim. I didn't remember the title of these books. I just remembered the look of them and how much I love the aesthetic. And then many years later, I got nostalgic and I'm like, I wonder if I can find these books on the internet. The problem is I don't know the title, I don't know the publisher, I don't know the editors. I had nothing to go on. I never saw these books at library sales. It was just a mystery, and yet I had this vivid memory of these books and how much I liked them. And so, thanks to some dogged internet searching, I wish I remember the exact search terms that pulled up the book, but I know it involved William Faulkner, barn burning, and like evocative photography or black and white photography, something like that. And let me see if I can show you the Faulkner. You know, look at these photos. I mean, this is like, you know, art quality, you know, literary magazine quality photography. And it's almost like they presented these books not as textbooks, but as literary anthologies. Look at these photos. You know, so anyway, I ran that search and something finally came up and I started putting together the clues. And I got on the trail, hot on the scent. And then I think I also used my interlibrary loan from the university that I worked at. And I was able to confirm that these were indeed the titles and that there were several of them. There weren't just these, but there were other ones that we didn't even read in that class. It was a whole series. And of course, I'm all about these like collecting series and things like that. I also got through interlibrary loan the instructor guide for teachers that had been, it was in like one library in Maine somewhere. They had it. And I borrowed that through interlibrary loan and I scanned the whole book and used it a little bit when I taught some of these stories. Sonny's Blues was in here. I remember that one. A story I taught a bunch. And James Baldwin. Yeah, so anyway, once I confirmed that these were the books, and I had the publisher, which is McDougall, Littell, and Company. And the editors are David Weimer and Joan Myers Weimer. These, you know, once I had these confirmed, then I went about searching eBay until I could find copies of these books. These are the two that I remember vividly that we actually used in my high school class in 11th grade. But then, over time, and just recently with this last mail haul, I completed, I think this is a complete set now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So there's 4 more titles. There were some duplicates because I already had 3. I have these 2 and another one, but then I could get the whole set. So it was worth it, and they weren't that much money. And I just thought, you know, even though I'm duplicating here by a couple titles, it's worth it because these other ones don't pop up individually. I just bought the lot. And so we have 20th Century Poetry, Landscapes of the Mind. Look at that cover. 20th Century Exposition, Man and the Social Machine. 20th Century Drama, Faith and Fear. 18th and 19th Century Exposition, The Individual and Society. And then the ones I showed you, 20th Century Fiction, Authority and Self-Discovery. And 19th Century Fiction, Extraordinary Selves. There might be a 19th Century Poetry volume that I don't have. I'll have to look, but I think this is pretty complete now. And I'm very, very satisfied because I just love the look and feel of these titles. Not only are they nostalgic, but they're actually books I will read. They're really good anthologies. And you know, it's just like opening up a literary magazine and you're browsing it and you find something you want to read. They're just that good. And I might actually use these on the channel and we'll do some selected stories and it'll be an opportunity to revisit these, and I can do some more show and tell. But I'm also going to do a separate video, like walking you through these books, just to show you all the lovely photography and the typography. Like, they just did an amazing job. I don't know how they got away with it. These don't look like textbooks. I never liked in school reading something out of a textbook. Like, some of those are just deadly dull. And the way they framed it and the way they would ask these like silly questions about them, they just kind of like beat you over the head with a stick and, you know, to punish you for reading. And, you know, this was different. This was just like, you can read these, you can look at the photos and make connections. You can think about it, have your own thoughts about it. And I really appreciated that. So that is my mail haul. Really, really happy. I've got 2 new Shakespeare volumes, Franklin Library, leather bound. Saturday Night Ghost Club, William Faulkner Sanctuary, which virtually completes my run of those Faulkner paperbacks, and then all these lovely American literature readers. That's it. Hope you are doing well. Wearing a beret today, you might wonder why. Have I gone existentialist? No, well, you know, I already like existentialism, but it's a bad hair day. I'll just put it that way. I did the first take of this video, we had like spikes coming up. And, you know, that wasn't the look I was quite looking for. You know, I wasn't quite into that kind of like punk aesthetic today. I got my Bernie's Pretzels t-shirt, brand new, because we were in Delco last weekend, and we loaded up on some more soft pretzels, and I couldn't resist buying a Flyers themed Bernie's Pretzels shirt. So yeah, hope you like that. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Enjoy your week and hang in there. I know it's a tough one for people. Bye-bye.